Welcome back, troops. Let's tab 59. So, just out for a little short tab today. And while I was out, I want to chat to you about a British George Cross hero. Now, some of you will have heard of this gentleman I'm about to chat about. But there's going to be a lot of you that haven't heard of him, especially if you're outside the UK, because you wouldn't know about all our heroes, maybe. So, Micheal Willetts. And Micheal Willetts was born in 1943. He's a war baby. Born in 1943 in Nottinghamshire. And after he left school, he went to work in a local colliery. There's a lot of people did up there in the Midlands in those times. That was one of the big industries around that area. But not long after being there, he realised it wasn't for him. He wanted something else. And so he joined the British Army. And he volunteered for one of the toughest regiments in the British Army, the Parachute Regiment. Famed for their toughness. It's a hard regiment to get into. But he got in, passed his training, passed his P company, passed his jumps course, and then was posted to 3 Para, 3rd Battalion, the Parachute Regiment. He had several overseas postings and tours, and rose quite quickly to the rank of sergeant. So he was a good soldier, he was doing well. He got married and had 2 children, and in early 1971, he was posted on his operational tour on Operation Banner, which was the campaign. It was the UK's Ministry of Defence operational name, Operation Banner, given to the campaign in Northern Ireland. So off he goes in early 1971, and he was based with his unit at Springfield Road RUC station. RUC, for those who don't know, used to be the Royal Ulster Constabulary, and that was basically the police force in Northern Ireland. So he posted there in the police station in Belfast, Springfield Road. He'd been out about 4 months with his unit. He was quite well aware of the dangers, and it was very spicy in those days. You know, we started to lose our first guys in 1971. I believe the first soldier to be killed was Gunner Robert Curtis, an artilleryman. He was killed. I believe that was in 71. So he was out there, so people, it was getting a bit spicy. So anyway, Sergeant Willetts was in the police station. And the main lobby area of the police station, if you can imagine, you come in, there's a lobby area with a desk where all the business is getting conducted. And he was in there. He actually wasn't in the lobby at the time when it happened. So anyway, in comes an IRA operative, terrorist, with a holdall with a fuse sticking out of it, and it was smoking. So it was a lit fuse. The guy comes in, drops the holdall on the floor, legs it out of the police station. Obviously, there's a bit of panic going on. Sergeant Willetts hears this, comes in. He can see the bomb there on the floor with a fuse sticking out of it. And before he gets in there, he instructs another soldier to go and clear the floor above, because obviously it was a good-sized bomb, and he knew there was going to be danger for people not only in the room, but they needed to clear the room above. So that gets sorted out. Then he, Sergeant Willetts, along with some RUC officers in there, started to clear out as many people as they could out of the back of the lobby area to get them out of the main danger area of the bomb. But it wasn't enough time to get everyone out. And in the end, by the doorway, he knew that wasn't going to be enough to shield the people from the bomb. There was a mother and father and 2 children there. So he stood his body between them and the device on the floor to shield them. It was a tremendous explosion, a 30-pound bomb, 30 pounds of explosives. That's big. The bomb detonates, does injure a few people. Sergeant Willetts gets struck in the back of the head by a piece of a metal locker that was in there. So there's a metal locker in the lobby. That became shrapnel, and a piece of that struck him in the rear of his head. So he was taken out with the other casualties. Outside, their local youths and that were all chanting and singing and cheering, because obviously they could see there was injured RUC men and an injured soldier. And that was a victory to them, I suppose. Although they probably didn't know that what Sergeant Willetts had done was just saved this young Catholic family. But that didn't matter to them. They'd scored a result in their eyes. So he was taken away to Royal Victoria Hospital, 2 hours on the operating theatre. Unfortunately, Sergeant Willetts didn't make it and he died 2 hours into his operation. So later that year, well, I think it's the next month actually, so this happened in May 25th, 1971. I think by the June they decided that he should be awarded posthumously, obviously, the George Cross. Now, let me just tell you about the George Cross, for those that you don't know. Our highest military award for valour in the UK is the Victoria Cross. But we've got the George Cross as well. Now, the George Cross is at the same level of gallantry or valour, same level. The difference being, with the George Cross, that's for valour not directly in the presence of an enemy. And it can be awarded also for non-operational bravery. Sometimes police officers can get that. Members of the public can get the George Cross if there's an incident. But obviously in this case, because it wasn't in the presence of the enemy, he couldn't get the Victoria Cross. He got the George Cross. Like I say, there's no real difference. That is the only difference. One's in the face of the enemy and one is valour not in the face of the enemy, if you like. So he was awarded the George Cross, and it was posthumously awarded to him or to his wife. Very, very brave man. Now, that was back in 1971. The following year, in 1972, quite a well-known, to some people anyway, folk singer-songwriter, a guy called Harvey Andrews, was so moved by the story when he read what happened, he wrote a folk song called Soldier. And it's a very good song. I think it's quite a good song. It actually was put on the B side of one of his other records. For those who don't know, back in the day when we had vinyl records, a pop artist or a band, a group, whatever, would release a song, a single, and they'd have an A side, which would be the single they want to release. But you could flip their vinyl record over, on the other side would be the B side, and on there would be another one of their songs. And that's what Harvey Andrews done. The B side of his song that he released was called Soldier, and it was a folk song about Sergeant Willetts and what he'd done that day. So a lot of you might have heard that song, but if you haven't, there's plenty of examples on YouTube of it. Just put in Harvey Andrews Soldier and the song with all the lyrics will come up. Now, the actual lyrics of the song are fairly accurate, but there is a little bit of artistic license, if you like. For example, in Harvey Andrews' song about Sergeant Willetts, doesn't name him, he says that Sergeant Willetts, or the soldier, moves across the floor and lays down on the package. In other words, lays down on the bomb to shield the people in the station. But he obviously did. That's not exactly what happened. Sergeant Willetts did shield people from the bomb using his body, but it was up against a doorway. He didn't actually lay on the package. But the song is quite accurate in the deeds, and it's got a little bit of artistic license. I think it's a very good song. It was released and was quite popular. I remember hearing it out in Germany later on in the 70s. I think somebody had a copy of it and played it in the room. That's when I first heard it, and over the years I heard it more and more. But the BBC banned the song. They wouldn't allow it to be played anywhere on the BBC, on the radio or whatever. It was never played. That wind's getting up. So I don't know if that's the case today. Let's get out of this wind a bit. God. I don't know if that's the case today, that the BBC have still banned it. It'd be interesting to find out, wouldn't it? Have the BBC still banned it? Because you know what the BBC are like. They like banning stuff, don't they? But it wasn't meant, Harvey Andrews didn't record it to cause any problems. He just wanted to pay tribute to a very brave British soldier that at the end of the day is a human being too, and that used his body, if you like, to save other people. He gave his life up for people that he was supposed to be protecting out in Northern Ireland. So that's what the song's about. If you don't know the story of Sergeant Willetts, George Cross, then please Google it, have a look. There's stuff on YouTube about him. And again, if you want to hear the song, if you've not heard of the song before, Harvey Andrews, Soldier, have a look at that. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the song. I think it's a rather fitting tribute to him. Anyway, it's enough from me. I'll get back on my little tab. If you're new to the channel, you haven't subscribed, please consider it. I'm not saying do it, I'm saying consider it. Until next time, troops, it won't be long, remember, let's tab.